Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have something insanely awesome to take a look at today. Something I've been really anticipating for a very long time, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, I sat on it for too long waiting to get it, and now it's like actually getting kind of hard to find. This is the Ray Harryhausen Gwangi Allosaurus model, and you can see Star Ace. They are the creators of this fantastic model. We have reviewed quite a few of the Harryhausen line here on the channel in the past, and honestly it has been one of the best lines that I've ever seen produced when it comes to beautiful statues, not to mention nostalgia through the roof when it comes to anything Harryhausen related. If you are around my age or older, you're going to love Ray Harryhausen, especially if you're into dinosaurs. So anything Ray Harryhausen has been absolute magic. So the fact that Star Ace has created a really cool line of amazing Ray Harryhausen models, you know, again, that's just awesome. And so far, every single one that I have reviewed has been nothing short of a masterpiece. And this time we again have the Gwangi Allosaurus. And you can see as far as the box art goes, there is a beautiful image here on the front of the box of the Allosaurus, letting out a nice vocalization, looking very mean like it does in the Valley of Gwangi. And then underneath you again have Harryhausen's Gwangi soft vinyl model, cowboys, battle monsters in the lost world of Forbidden Valley. And then you can again see Harryhausen running down the side over here. And yet again, like I stated earlier, the Star Ace logo in the top right-hand corner. And then if we take a look here at the back, you can again see a little information as well as an image of Ray Harryhausen and then the autograph of Ray Harryhausen down there on the bottom. And then if we turn it over here, you have a little sneak peek of the Allosaurus model again that is contained within the box. And then if we turn it around and knock the backdrop over there, you can again see that the back shows off another really nice image of the Allosaurus as well as more information on the model and Star Ace themselves. So let's go ahead, pop this box open and check this out. Now straight away we have the base, and this is the deluxe version. The standard version doesn't come with this base, and as you can see on the base we have a deceased pterosaur, which is really, really cool. But not only do we have the deceased pterosaur right there, we also have part of the wing of the deceased pterosaur, and this is for you to put in the mouth of your Allosaurus, which really amounts to probably the coolest way to display a Gwangi Allosaurus. So we're just going to put them over there, and then bring in our massive beast from the Valley of Gwangi. We've got our Allosaurus right there, and it looks phenomenal straight out of the packaging. Definitely a gorgeous, gorgeous version of the Allosaurus. As far as the overall screen accuracy goes, I feel like they really captured it perfectly. Everything that I can see on this looks pretty much exactly as I recall it from the Valley of Gwangi, and they've also done a good job on the coloration of it. I feel like the colors are pretty spot on as well. Although I will say in certain areas of the film, it's kind of hard to tell if the Allosaurus is more of a gray or more of almost like a shade of like a purplish tone, but we've chosen to go with the grayish coloration, and in my head, that's always the way I thought it looked, was kind of like that grayish tone of color. So I like the fact that it is that tone of color, but again, if you actually watch the film, some instances it almost has like a purplish type of a look. But this, in my opinion, again, looks fantastic. So let's jump straight to a closer look at this right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Allosaurus, straight away you can see how menacing looking this Allosaurus is. It looks very, very mean. It doesn't look like it's having a great day, that's for sure, but that's exactly how the Allosaurus is portrayed in the Valley of Gwangi. And you can also see that the skin texture looks really, really nice. You can see that really nice scaling, especially on the lower jaw. Beautiful scale detail, but it also just kind of has that very rough and rugged looking look to it as far as the way it's kind of portrayed in the film. You can see the nostrils as well are sculpted out. They're highlighted nicely with a dark tone of color. The model as a whole has a nice dark gray appearance, but there's some really nice light dry brushing that's been applied with a light gray, and you can see that for sure here on the lower jaw. You can also see it up here on the top of the head. There are some other tones of color though that I pick up on here on it as well, like various variations of blues. You can see like variations of blues right here up on the top of the head, and originally I didn't really notice that when I first took it out of the packaging, but now that I'm actually holding it up here to the light, I'm picking up on blues honestly throughout the entire course of the body, which I think is definitely really cool. We also have the eyes painted very nicely, and they have a beautiful gloss coat, giving them a very realistic eye shine. You can see the eyes actually sport quite a bit of coloration, a few different tones of colors, as well as a nice, actually looks like a dark gray pupil rather than a black pupil. And you can see when the light shines off of it, that gloss coat is really shining on there. The mouth, of course, is in an open position. You can see that the teeth are sculpted very nicely, and look at how precise the paintwork of the teeth is. Like every single tooth is sculpted individually, it's all painted individually, and there is zero sloppiness to that. Like, look at that. That looks excellent everywhere. And they've painted it with a really nice variation of an off-white. It almost even appears to have some slight hints of browns in it. And they all have that gloss coat like we see up there on the eye, as well as the gloss coat you see through the rest of the inside of the mouth. You have kind of like a purplish tone of color for the inside of the mouth, and then a reddish tongue. The tongue has a very nice textured appearance to it, and everything inside the mouth, again, sports that beautiful gloss coat. You can see the upper side of the inside of the mouth. Again, that gloss coat really shines, as well as some very nice fine detail there again on the inside of the mouth of our Allosaurus. Super, super realistic looking. They honestly took something that obviously never existed in reality, would be an Allosaurus that looked like this, but they brought it to life in such a realistic way that it looks like they reached into the Valley of Gwangi, pulled the Allosaurus straight out, and it is now a living creature here on my review station. As you look up here on the top of the head, again, you can see some really, really nice looking skin texture throughout. As you move back here into the back of the head, you see that bulkiness to the neck like you do see on the Allosaurus in the Valley of Gwangi. And again, some really big kind of rough and rugged looking skin texture as you continue to move down. As you get down here a little further into the neck, you start to see lots of wrinkling and creasing throughout. A good bit of it here in the back of the neck due to the position of the Allosaurus with its head so upright. Again, as we have a very vintage interpretation of a dinosaur with the tail dragging and all that. So of course our dinosaur is positioned more upright, and that would obviously cause quite a bit of skin wrinkling there in the back of the neck, and you can see that again through the course of the neck in general. You've got the throat here on the underside, as well as that very armored-like appearance to the Allosaurus. Again, Star Ace pulled this off brilliantly. Like, that texturing looks great, and the really nice dry brushing they've given the underside here with some lighter coloration looks awesome. As you move down here into the body, you start to see kind of the shoulder blade a little bit, but you can also see some skin wrinkling here where the arm connects to the body, some nice muscle definition in the arm. As you move out, you can continue to see how nice the paintwork is on the Allosaurus everywhere. Again, they've done a good job of giving it some nice realistic skin tone, as it's not all just one generic gray coloration with some dry brushing. They've given quite a bit of different tones, as I could see grays and blues, but also they actually have dry brush different variations of color out. Like, you see a lot of light gray dry brushing, but you can even see almost like light tan dry brushing in certain spots. So they have done a phenomenal job of giving this a very lifelike and realistic appearance. But back to the arm, you can see as we lead out, the fingers look very nice as far as the sculpting goes. Again, they've highlighted the detail beautifully with more dry brushing techniques, and you've got the really nicely sculpted and painted nails with a dark gray, kind of with a mixture of browns actually as well on the nails. And then as you move back here into the body, again, lots of skin wrinkles and skin folds and stuff here behind the arm and in the lower part of the stomach. You would definitely see some skin wrinkles there, especially as that leg is taking a step forward. It would absolutely be wrinkling the skin in the stomach. Some more very large scales there in the stomach region. As you move back up here, again, you can see more creasing as you run along the front of the thigh of our Allosaurus. And then up here on the top, you can see that sort of armored type of a look that you see on the Allosaurus in Gwangi. It looks really nice on the model. You've got the hip bone shining a little bit right there, and then as you move down into the thigh, the musculature is immense and very nicely displayed on the model. You've also got kind of like that scoot-like armor type of an appearance running down the front of the thigh, and that follows down the entire way of the leg, down the shin into the foot sculpt. Very nice big bulging calf muscle as well, and I love the skin wrinkling and stuff and folding here in the back, running down into the back of the knee. That looks really cool. Again, various tones of dry brushing as well as blues and grays and everything showing up as you run down. You've got the dew claw right there, you can see as well, as nicely painted. And then as you move down into the foot sculpt looks really, really cool, super old school as far as the dinosaur goes. And you can really see how nice the nails look, as well as the fine detail of the nails, like nice, very small cracks and crevices and everything included within. And you can see various tones of color included even in the nails of the Allosaurus. So it looks super, super realistic. And as well, you can see that there is a nice glossy look to the nails, again, like real nails would look, with a nice shine. And then leading out here into the tail, you can see a few more skin wrinkles, skin creases and stuff. And then you lead out here a little bit further, you continue to see the same style of coloration that you've seen throughout, with quite a bit of different tones of color, as well as, again, that rough and rugged looking skin texture. Lots of really nice curvatures to the tail as you move out the length of the tail. Of course, it heads in a downward fashion because with a vintage Allosaurus, that's the way it would look. But it also turns toward the dinosaur's left and then comes up, turns back toward the right, and then back toward the left. So there's a lot going on as far as the curling of the tail, but you can again see that the skin texture as well as the paintwork looks amazing the entire way out. And then you also have, again, lots of beautiful detailing here for the underside of our Allosaurus, and really nice paintwork. Like, they have done a great job of painting this in a way that highlights all of the detail in brilliant fashion. And then again, as far as the opposing side of the head, the eye looks great as far as the sculpt and paintwork goes. Again, the head looks pretty much the same over here as it did on the initial side, very menacing, almost like a growling type of a look to our Allosaurus. As you move down the course of the neck, you're not really going to see too much different over here, though the Allosaurus does have its head tilted and turning to its right. There's not too much of a difference in appearance to the sculpt or anything. A little less creasing maybe here at the bottom of the neck, but not too much different. As you move down, though, you can see the arm is in a slightly different position, held upward a little bit more closer to the body, really flexing the muscles, though, in the arm. You can definitely see that, which you can again see more skin wrinkles and stuff, especially because the arm's pushing into the body a little bit more so than it is on the opposing side. The hand and everything looks great, though, just like it did on the initial side. More fantastic, very big, bulky, rugged scales through the course of the entire Allosaurus. You've got the shoulder blade again. You can make out the hip bone and stuff. And then as you lead back here into the stomach, you can see a little more of the stomach on this side because the leg is trailing. The leg on the opposing side is taking a step forward, so you can see a little bit more of the skin detail and everything in the stomach region of our Allosaurus. And you can actually make out the rib cage a little bit right there from certain angles. You can definitely pick out the bumps of the rib cage right there. And then again, the musculature is very, very large here in the thigh. The thigh in general is huge. And then again, the very nice, very armored type of a look running down the course of the leg of our Allosaurus. Beautiful paintwork and sculpt work down here on the foot, especially out there onto the nails. And then you lead back up here. Also, you can see the calf muscle is big and bulging over here. But then you lead back up here into the tail. And again, we have all sorts of curvatures going on with the tail. And it looks great over here, just like it did on the initial side. When it comes to a Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus, not only did they do this model and that dinosaur justice, but man, they completely knocked this out of the park. And then the incredible model doesn't stop there, because we again have the base that the pterosaur lies on, and you can see that the base itself has a very nice earthy area, lots of like twigs and stuff. You've got a stone down here, like a big rock and everything over here. Really, really nice earthy texture to it, and lots of beautiful paintwork. Like, they have applied quite a bit of different coloration to the base to make it look incredibly lifelike and realistic. And then of course we have our deceased pterosaur here, and you can see it's laying upside down, and that as well is very nicely sculpted. They've given it a beautiful dark wash as well, and some really subtle variations of browns throughout to make it look very realistic. And obviously, as you can tell, our pterosaur is mangled. The only thing, honestly, I think that could have improved the base would have been maybe a gloss coat in the sort of like ripped open areas. I feel like that might have made it look a little bit more realistic. But even still, again, the paintwork is incredibly precise. You've got the eyes. The eyes do have a nice gloss coat. But even the, again, wounds where it's been ripped open looks phenomenal. You've got bite marks there in the neck. And you can see, obviously, the wing has been completely removed over here. And if you get nice and far down here, you can see like the bloody type of a look to that area as well. And then as you move through, again, you can see lots of really nice, very subtle variation of color throughout the model. And you've got some more injuries. Again, this leg has been completely broken and torn open. This wing as well has been ripped off. And you can see, again, completely disgustingly torn apart. You've got the bone, actually, of the wing sticking out over here. And then as we move up, again, you can see the unfortunately deceased pterosaur's face right there. You can even see the inside of the mouth is painted pretty nicely. You've got the throat back there and everything. Not too much going on color-wise or anything in there. It doesn't look like they painted the tongue too much, but it still looks pretty good for what it is. And again, that is an absolutely awesome base. Probably the best base that you could give a Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus. And then here on the underside, again, you can see Ray Harryhausen's Gwangi Deluxe version. And it gives you the model number as well as produced with the permission of the Ray and Diana Harryhausen Foundation. And then again, Star Ace. We also have some nice circles here, those kind of rubber circles to stop it from moving and sliding around when it's on the table. And then you also have the wing of the pterosaur to put in the mouth of your Allosaurus. And you can see that as well is incredibly highly detailed, very nicely painted. I like that we have lighter variations of browns as well as darker browns that kind of highlight the different areas of the wing, looking really realistic. We also have more injuries and stuff on the wing. Lots of really nice bite marks and stuff throughout. And again, the bones sticking out over here. Super realistic, super lifelike, very, very cool extra for this set that, again, would just complete one heck of an incredible Valley of Gwangi diorama. Star Ace really did a great job on this release. And something else that is actually really cool about this model is, again, we stated that we have the wing to put in the mouth of the Allosaurus, so you can see that the deceased corpse of the pterosaur is laying down here. But what's really cool about this is, in case you didn't notice when I was reviewing it, you can see this little circle down here. That's actually a magnet, and watch it pull it in, and it holds it there. So the mouth doesn't actually close on the wing, but it stays in there very nicely. You can see that is not going to fall out. So it does go in there with a magnet for extra safety, just to make sure that the wing stays in the mouth very nicely, very realistically, and again, completes the entire diorama in probably the best way possible. As far as a size for our Allosaurus, for a length from the tail to the snout, you're looking at a little over 17 inches, maybe approaching 17.25 inches, or about 43.5 centimeters. And then for a height, if we get back here behind the head of our Allosaurus, you were looking at just shy of 10 inches. I would say about 9.75 inches, or right around 25, maybe 25.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus. And you can definitely see again that the size is incredibly impressive. Now, I have reviewed quite a few different dinosaurs from the Star Ace line. Previously, I've reviewed the 1 million years BC Allosaurus as well as the Ceratosaurus. So two different theropods that are a very similar style to this Allosaurus, and I can say that they are pretty much the same size as those. So if you are a collector of the Ray Harryhausen line and you have one of those, you've been considering getting this, they're very similar sizes. They're not too far off, if at all far off from each other. So again, if you happen to have those, that should help to give you a pretty good idea of the size, but if not, then hopefully these figures here will also help. And even though it's not meant to represent Gwangi, it's more of the Charles R. Knight version of a Tyrannosaurus. As far as retrosaurs, retro dinosaurs go, this Rebor version is one of the best out there. So I thought this one would be a really cool one, a really good one to bring in for a comparison as well with our Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus. Because if you are into retro dinosaurs like I am, then there's a pretty good chance you would have one of the retrosaurs from Rebor. So again, as far as size comparisons go, I don't know too many figures that would be a good stand-in with this. Again, if you are a collector of the Star Ace line, you'll probably already know roughly what the size is. But if not, and you are just a collector of vintage dinosaurs, then I feel like this Rex was definitely a good one to bring in. So this Star Ace Toys version of the Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus is phenomenal. Absolutely beautiful. Probably my favorite version of any of the Star Ace Harryhausen models up until this point, mostly because I love the Valley of Gwangi. I am a huge fan of that film. Like, that's probably one of the most watched films that I had as a child. I eventually bought the DVD, I bought the Blu-ray, I buy pretty much everything I can when it comes to the Valley of Gwangi. including the Joe Ladati model, which I've built and painted myself, and now this gorgeous version from Star Ace. And yet again, I feel like they captured the likeness of the Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus in perfect fashion. And when it comes to screen accuracy, again, and what I can recall of the Allosaurus, this is picture perfect. And on top of being picture perfect, it's not like a really stagnant, boring model. Like, there's a lot of life to the model. The entire head sculpt has such a very cool, menacing sort of appearance to it, but also just generally a lot of life with the way that they've sculpted out, even like the upper jaw and the way that the mouth is kind of almost in like a growling type of a position. The eyes look really, really mean and angry. Again, there's lots of nice curvatures to the tail, lots of skin wrinkles and everything throughout. So just generally a lot of life to the model itself. And unfortunately, a lot of death when it comes to the model of the pterosaur, because that thing is just destroyed. But as a whole, again, sculpt-wise, it is incredible. Paint-wise as well, it is just beautiful, because they've done a great job of not just kind of giving it a boring paint scheme with just a gray and then some dry brushing. They've added in a lot of different colors with like different variations of lighter and darker shades of grays, beautiful dry brushing throughout with like different tones. You have light gray dry brushing, kind of tannish dry brushing. You also have variations of blue that are really subtle on the model, and they show up all throughout the entire course of the model, but the transitions in and out of those colors is super, super smooth, and you almost don't even notice it, again, until you have it in a nice light, and you can really appreciate how good the paintwork is of this. The eyes are perfectly placed. All of the teeth are incredibly well done when it comes to the paint. And again, they sport really nice realistic gloss coats for the eyes, the mouth, the teeth, the nails, everything is just super lifelike on this Allosaurus. And then on top of that, the size is incredibly impressive because it's nice and large like you would expect it to be. So that is a huge, huge plus in my opinion for this model on top of everything. And then you have that really cool base with the deceased pterosaur. The base as well looks super realistic, really nice sculpt as far as the earthy texture goes, really nice paintwork with quite a bit of different tones of colors there as well. Again, creating a very lifelike look, but the pterosaur is super cool because it's completely destroyed, and the fact that the wing is detached and goes in the mouth of the Allosaurus and connects with a magnet is really cool. They've done a great job of sculpting out the pterosaur in general, but also all of the areas of the pterosaur that are, torn apart and broken and deceased. So again, as a whole, this is probably my favorite Star Ace Ray Harryhausen model yet. Definitely a must-have if you are a fan of the Valley of Gwangi. So if you are interested in this, I would recommend getting on buying it immediately, because this is selling out very quickly, more so than most of the Star Ace models, I would say. So I will include a link in the description to where you can grab this right now before, again, it sells out. Keep in mind that there is a deluxe version and a normal version. The normal regular version does not come with the base or the pterosaur wing or anything. The deluxe version does come with that. I will try to find links to both of those to include in the description. But one way or another, again, when it comes to vintage dinosaurs, this is as awesome as it gets. So make sure you pick this up, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.